a cover story.
Product placement, is it?
Yes, it is. So if we get a really good shot, you'll be on the cover of Alternative Weekly in Houston. So.
It's like casino lighting.
Yeah,
which is why I brought this. Oh, I see. Good.
That's why I told him. Like, I feel bad for some of the older celebrities because everyone looks dead under these lights. It's just
horrible.
It's terrible. But the reason I wanted to talk to you over Colin and Sylvester and Peter and everybody is, hey, I'm a big fan. But also, I'm doing a story on how the comic book convention scene in Houston has basically regenerated. It was really big in the 60s. It hit its peak in the 70s. It died in the 80s, and then there was nothing for 30 years.
Why did it die?
Because they invited all the cast members from Star Trek Wrath of Khan, and they didn't pay them.
Oh.
And so word went out, nobody wanted to deal with Houston for as long as I've been alive.
They didn't pay them. Why did they come?
Because they
didn't come in.
Well, they came, and they said, you're going to be, your hotel, everything's taken care of, and nobody had anything, and the rotor ran off. So anyway, that's what I'm writing about. And the reason I want to talk to you is because your doctor has received such a renaissance in the last 3 or 4 years. So if you're open to talk about that, that's what we're good. Okay. When you first got cast in 1996, were you very much like, I'm going to be the doctor, or was it just another part? Was it like with Nell and I and stuff like that?
Well, the only context really that you have to remember is that it had been kicked into the long grass as a series,
right?
7 years before,
right?
It was over,
right?
And so this was an attempt to resuscitate something.
Yeah.
So people were kind of, I don't know, people were skeptical. The BBC themselves, who had obviously originated the project, they were the ones that got rid of it.
Right.
So the next thing we hear, some North American guys want to revive it. This kind of Brit institution. So people were a bit sniffy to start with. And also, year on year we'd hear these, almost since it was got rid of, we hear these rumours, oh yeah, it's going to make a comeback, there's going to be a movie, or there's going to be it's going to come back maybe in a different format.
Yeah. And
normally the rumours would be accompanied by names, and names that who might play the Doctor, names that were, I suppose...
Tim Curry was on that list.
Yeah, plausible people.
Yeah.
Or at least people that tallied with actors that chimed with the old characterization, or there was either like an English eccentric or a skilled comedian, or Eric Idle was mentioned. Yeah, that kind of thing. People you can imagine, and every name, you'd hear names like that and there would be, oh yeah, oh cool, yeah, well let's hope it happens. And in 94, 95, these rumours got strong again, and me and my brother, Mark, were asked to go and audition for it. And we thought, why? So, and that was my initial reaction. What do they want us for? Why us? We're not comedians, we're straight actors. Anyway, it turns out Phil Siegel, who really, it was his singular energy, really, and determination that got this thing back. Had seen us on TV. Me and my brothers in this, 94, in this show that we, a BBC drama that we did together. There's 4 boys in the family, all actors.
Right.
And he saw us, and me particularly, at the time I had long hair. I was dressed as a 19th century priest, so a frock coat, the thing. It was Doctor, he looked like a doctor.
Sure, right.
And unbeknownst to me, there's Siegel, wherever he is, going, that's my guy, So this is how it started.
Right. And once you were suited up, I know they put the wig on you and everything, and it's like were you walking around going, it's like you feel like Tom Baker, you feel like somebody like one of those names from
the thing
legacy.
Is, well, far from it, because when Phil first got in touch, or the idea was first mooted, I just turned it down.
Really?
No interest whatsoever. Because it, as an actor, you think, well, why are they asking me? I don't want to do that. That's not me. I don't want to do it. And they kept coming back. In the end, Phil said, listen, I know. It's, you don't see us, but let's work on it. So in answer to your question, I didn't see Tom Baker, I didn't see, I couldn't even picture myself doing it.
So it was a very new experience.
I said to Phil, I was trying to put Phil off.
Yeah.
I said, listen, man, I've read this thing. I remember it as a kid. If you're serious about someone like me doing it, then it ain't going to be what you think it is. It ain't going to be what you've had.
Right.
I don't do that stuff.
Right.
You know. And anyway, I think he's, you know, misanthropic, melancholic, dark. This trying to put him off.
Right.
And he just kept nodding, going, "Yep, that's my guy. That's the way." I'm thinking, what? So he sort of blindsided me, and in the end, I agreed to do it.
Right. What did you think when you saw the film? It was like when the final product is out, you get to see it. What was your reaction to it? What did you think of it?
I found it difficult to watch for the simple reason that I, like most actors, I can't watch myself in stuff anyway. You can't be, what's the word?
Objective of that.
You can't, it's impossible. Plus I thought, you know, even before we shot it, I was well aware that it was a TV pilot.
Right.
But they spent a lot of money on it for the period, you know, for maybe $5 million US, which is a lot of money. You could have made 2 feature films in England for that same money. And it was full length. And if you like, its remit was to, or its kind of peculiar task was to find and locate those Doctor Who fans in North America that it was assumed existed. It seems crazy now talking about it like this, just 18 years later, when they're everywhere.
Right. But at the time,
we've got to find them. Phil's going, I'm sure we can find these people as a demographic, as a constituency, as a bunch of people. They're going to love it, and introduce them to it, get it to them, but also in one effort, without now putting the noses out of joint of the people back in Europe that had followed the thing for 30 years and were well versed in it. So it had to be written and attempted and screened, and the story had to be such that it had to
accomplish 2 very different goals.
It did, and that was the tension of it. So, for example, Phil was well aware that, you know, we had to include visually and in story terms, you know, certain iconic elements.
Right.
It had to be just like this, just like that. These things were non-negotiable. So, for example, I couldn't sit with him as an actor going, well, I don't want to do it like that, I don't want to play it like this. He'd go, just play it like that. Okay? You have to play it like that because this is what it is. I don't want to wear, you're wearing that. You have to wear that. You know. I think the scarf was the only thing I got to negotiate. He even made me wear a wig.
Right.
Kind of thing. So anyway, that's how it was. And it failed.
Yes.
It failed its first and only task, which was to
find the audience.
To go to series. Again, that, you know, in a way it was to be expected. Most pilots don't succeed. We were aware of that. So when we shot it in Vancouver in, what would this have been, January 96, you know, in the spirit, you know, we really wanted it to succeed. I remember at the time our kids were 5, 6 years old.
Yeah.
So despite ourselves and all our best hopes and outwardly saying, yeah, you know, when this is over, we'll all come back, I'll see you in September, whatever it is, you know, and we're looking for houses there, we're eyeing up houses in the bay, the local schools, because you can't help it. You have to, on the one hand you're doing that, but on the other side of you is going, oh God, you know, this isn't going to work, or what's the chances, you know?
Yeah.
And in the end, it didn't work. So, and you know, we'd all signed those contracts, which are standard.
Yeah.
Even to make a pilot, you have to sign these contracts, which are 6 years. So if it goes, you're theirs for 6 years. If it doesn't go, it's like sayonara. You know, it's completely one-sided. So this was the period. This was the spirit.
Right.
This is the way we made it. So in a way. And it was 6 weeks long, so it happened so fast. And in that kind of atmosphere, that really you just had to do what was in front of you.
And then all of a sudden it was over.
And then hope that it worked. I think that was a strange choice for it. It's only now, in retrospect, and particularly since, I think, again, talking like this, I suppose I have to bookend it, or have to end it by saying now, 2014, and what's happened latterly, and course, seeing after 2005 the series come back,
Right.
we feel, or we should feel, vindicated. The whole period, what the kids are calling the wilderness years, the interregnum was what, I don't know, years and years. It was a decade and a half.
89 to 96.
Right.
And
So
96 to
yeah,
05.
2005. So it's a long time.
Right.
And in that period, the only thing that was us.
Right. Was doing the big finish.
So yes, we failed, but now I suppose we can take some satisfaction. There is something gratifying. We should probably feel vindicated. And I know because I've met Phil Siegel many times since. Mm-hmm. And yeah, okay, you can smile about it now. It happened. And in a way, the momentum, we never dropped the ball. At least, we should feel at least proud of that.
Just a brief side to make you feel a little bit better about it. Last year, for the 50th anniversary, a theater chain down here asked me to start hosting screenings of classic Doctor Who. And in August, we did Doctor Who the movie. It is the only one that's sold out.
Well, that's great.
We turned
news.
like 50, 100 people away at the door. It was the only one that did it. So you beat Baker and Troughton and everybody.
Yeah.
So that should at least feel...
But it's an interesting thing to have happened. I remember read the reviews of it. Because it's a cultural exchange as well, for want of a better expression. And looking at the reasons, looking at what the critics said, the cleverer ones.
Right.
It failed for the reasons we talked about just now.
Right.
That it never, probably, those dual remits, that tension never quite paid off.
Right.
It kind of fell between two stools. So how many metaphors can I mix in a single interview? It's the coffee. But something happened.
Yes.
The BBC's interest was rekindled. Mm-hmm. At least they got over their embarrassments. There must have been a few face changes at the, in the BBC that they got over their shame and took an interest in it again. So.
When did you first start going to things like conventions and stuff? I mean, did it happen like right after 1996?
No, not for a while. When the Big Finish audios, which is essentially chiefly where the Eighth Doctor lives.
Right. No.
Since 96.
My phone's full of it. I promise.
Yeah. Since 96, because I've worked visually on Doctor Who for one day.
Yeah.
Which was this recent
Night of the Doctor.
Night of the Doctor.
Well, you took some pictures for Dark Eyes.
But yeah, well, that's what I mean. So I've shot 6 weeks.
Right.
In my life. But I've done 10, 12 years of the audios.
When Big Finish came up to you and said, "Do you want to come back and start doing Doctor Who for this?" Were you hesitant? I mean, did you think about 96 at all?
No. Because I love the medium, and in Britain anyway, it's still an established medium.
Yes.
Radio drama is still a big thing there, and all actors, if they can, try and take part. So I thought that was a great idea. I read the first couple of scripts, and there was that Douglas Adams script around Shada.
Yeah.
So I thought, this is cool. So we did them. And then, so it kind of coincided with, Big Finish really getting their feet under the table and getting off the ground. I'm mixing metaphors again, I can't believe it. And, but also there was a relationship began then crucially between Big Finish and the people at Cardiff, who had started to revive the series. And they've always swapped personnel, so that relationship has been really important.
You feel like the
likes of Gary Russell and Nick Briggs, and those people now, they would then work on, and Moffat himself, they worked on both the television series and the audio. So it's been a good relationship. So in answer to your question, no, I jumped at the chance to work on the audios, and not least because I was able to, at least as we got it established, I was able to at least do some of the things that Phil Siegel and I had talked about.
Yeah. Had
the series ever gone and got made.
What was that like? Because now, when they did the movie, I've read a lot of the production notes on it, and that was just like, they cast you, but it could have been a lot of different other people. They weren't really thinking of you when they wrote it, but when they wrote Scherzo, when they wrote, Peter the Cronin or something like that, they knew it was going to be you.
So that's great. You see, so it's bespoke. You get things written for you, and of course it's an ongoing thing. Now we're doing 2 or 3 batches of these things a year because it's well known that the only business model that Big Finish have is that you buy them, we can make them. You know, the more you buy, the more we make. So, and the kids have twigged this now. So, and this has been the most gratifying thing in the last couple of years, and particularly since the anniversary in November, is that I meet more and more and more young people, particularly, that have listened to audios for the first time. The word of mouth is now big. Yeah, I bought one, and I told my friends to buy them, so we're buying them.
Yeah.
And I say the same to all the kids. You know, the more you buy, the more we can make. So this is happening.
It's my 4-year-old listens to Solitaire on an endless loop, but so she was kind of disappointed you weren't actually a puppet. That's the thing. You get the call. Were you surprised when you got the call from Night of the Doctor? I mean,
yeah, I was surprised because you never can tell. You know, you don't.
I remember you read it's like, I'm an actor. They'll call me the day before. You know.
Yeah, this happens. We were actually on tour. We were doing one of these things over in Australia. I said me and the other guys, the 4 doctors. And so I got the call then, and of course I had to keep it secret from them. I was surprised, yeah. Never thought it would happen, you know. And whatever happens in the future, I'll be surprised again if anything happens. It probably won't ever happen, but you know what? It could happen tomorrow. You might have another idea. Any one of these guys could get a call. That's the beauty of it. It's the beauty of the idea. You know, you can go back, rewrite stuff, go back, move around, go back in time, and move the goalposts. You know, it's not so long ago there was only 12 doctors. Yeah. I mean, allowed in the pantheon, and now it's like unlimited. They can make this shit up. It's like, that's the beauty of it.
What's it like for you? My friend Meredith told a great story about yesterday when you sat down to do your autograph. She said that you sat down and everyone started clapping and cheering, and that you kind of got up and looked around for the famous person, and just sort of like, you know, you went from being kind of a forgotten doctor to being a lot of people's favorites. I've seen lines for you when there's no lines for anybody else.
It was awkward, I have to tell you, it was awkward. And it's not the kind of thing I wanted to admit. It sounded too downbeat 18 years ago. But I've been, you know, when the pilot failed, I thought, oh, Jesus, I'm going to be like the George Lazenby guy, the guy who's, you know what I mean?
Wow.
But
right.
Of course, exactly right. Yeah, that's great. Immortalised for all the wrong reasons. Right. And for a number of years, that was exactly what I was hearing. We don't talk about him. They don't talk about Peter Cushing either. Right? And I'm thinking, okay, at least I'm in weird but good company. That's how it was. And even into the noughties, I'd say I felt he was tolerated. This is number 8, rather than accepted. Because, you know, there's some diehards out there.
We know.
You know, the mythology is such that, you know, some people feel that they're very possessive of it. You know, you meet them, and sometimes they get too close. But
I run one of the large Facebook fan groups.
Yeah.
Trust me, I'm
aware.
aware.
So, but it only needs some imprimatur. It only needs like Moffat to canonize something, like, you know, like in Night of the Doctor. You know, the 8th Doctor gets to mention the names of the Big Finish companions.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, bang, that's it. Then it's endorsed. That's how things work. But the 8th Doctor's kind of general endorsement happened in slow stages, you know.
I remember
there was almost a begrudging acceptance.
And then for a long time, I mean, I always read that they weren't even 100% sure Eccleston was the 9th Doctor, and that if you...
Well, even now that's happened again, because you got John Hurt now.
Right, so they did
some mezzanine floor, you know, some 9.5, and you know, it happens. But it's really only in the last 12 months, and particularly, of course, since the big anniversary, that I know now that Dr. 8 is bang in the centre of things. And it's cool.
I would say it feels cool, doesn't it?
It's cool.
And
because there was nothing I could do about that, you know.
Right. And does it make you, I mean, in a sense, does that make you want to do more things? Or is it like I've made my mark, wash my hands?
No, I've never felt like that. Yeah. And this is why, because one thing you asked me before, when did I start going to conventions and stuff? That was in that atmosphere. When I was never sure whether I was bona fide, accepted. I thought, well, why do I want to go? You know, it's going to just be weird, and it was. And so for 5 years or more, I just turned them down. I wouldn't go to them. I didn't want to do them.
Yeah.
In fact, there's a film somewhere, the first time I ever turned up at one of these things. And to me, it was shit scary. And it was a big one in London. And I walk out onto this stage. It was a panel thing. That was my first appearance. And it was a big room, 2,000 people just in the room.
Oh, yeah.
And this noise. And I couldn't see because it was dark. The stage was lit and this was dark. And so I could see maybe 10 rows back. I couldn't see how many people were in the room. And it's just this picture of me, and I'm so nervous. I'm like doing same arm, same leg walking. I'm completely uncoordinated. And the blood's left my face, and I'm this tiny little thing. And this noise as I walk out onto the stage. And you can see I almost swayed. It's nerve-wracking.
Oh,
and then I open my mouth to speak, and this little mouse squeak comes out of it. It's really funny to watch. And it takes a while to find your feet because it's nerve-wracking.
Oh, yeah.
But because you don't know what to expect, and once I realised, which is pretty quickly, I have to say, maybe 1 or 2 appearances at these things. In fact, despite all your weird fears, it's got a sense of humour. Some of the best, funniest, cleverest people you'll ever meet come to these things. It's sociable, It's got a family atmosphere, and you know what? We make this for these kids, for the fans.
Oh, yeah.
It belongs to them. It's not about you. And when you can relieved, you can come in that spirit. You have a ball. I love this kind of thing. And then, you know what? It's surprising me. I never thought I'd be that kind of actor. I was like, I'll go and do the work. I'll go home. I'll remain mysterious. I've read the manual. I know exactly what to do. Just get. Leave them wanting more. Have a bit of mystique. But you know what? This is different.
Yeah.
This is different. It's just different, and they love it.
Oh yeah.
The kids love it. And they love it, and I'm sure you met Sylvester and Colin. And
yeah.
And they're lovely men.
Oh yes.
And they're tireless. But again, we don't make this stuff for us. It's for the people.
Yeah.
And that's in the end, that's the most satisfying thing. And I'm not saying it to be mawkish or corny, but that's it. Because the people, they spend their money. They travel distances. There's young kids here. There's families here. And you can't. If you felt any other way but just generous, you wouldn't have a good time. Why come? What's the point in coming?
Yeah.
What would be the point? So I'm happy. I'm really happy to come to it.
Good. Have you ever been to Houston before?
Never been in Texas before.
No.
Wow.
How
have you felt your reception here has been? Just.
I've really enjoyed it. It's made me want to come back.
Good.
Cool.
They're like, are you guys Texans? I don't know. I can't hear you.
Yes, I'm from here. I was born 13 miles from here.
Because to me, I've found the welcome. The welcome has been great. They're like Irish people, right?
I like it.
Yeah, but they look you in the eye. They tell you the truth. I love that. And the welcome's been really warm. We've hardly left the building. We got out on the first day we were here. We went to the Johnson Space Center, me and Colin. And that was a dream come true. My 10-year-old inner child self.
Oh yeah, that place is hilarious.
Yeah, but I'm that age. I was that 10-year-old that watched the moon landing. So our generation is like, that was it. We were captured, wrapped. And I got to sit in 2 days ago, I got to sit in the Apollo mission control room, in the flight director's chair, picked up the red phone, take my picture. What do you want, But again, that is the spirit of it.
Did anybody notice? Where it's like, 2 doctors are here playing with the space.
Crazy. Every grown man and woman in the room is doing the same thing. But that's it. That's what we are. In the end, we're grown-up kids. Whether we're performers, whether we're fans, it's the same. And that's the atmosphere you find at these places. And if you don't dig it, go and do something else, I love that. And people dress up to the nines and make an effort, It's beautiful.
Oh, it's wonderful.
It's beautiful.
That's actually all my questions. I'll let you get off back to,
Don't let him escape until I've taken some more portrait shots.
Oh, okay.
You can do that.
Oh no, I'm going to put my actor face on. No, it was better before when you just took it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Turn my recorder off. There I go.
It's in my normal profile.